McGuire from Virginia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We live in the greatest country in history where our rights come from God. We're born with these inalienable rights that are enshrined in the Constitution. But our nation is a nation in decline. But through the grace of God, we have President Trump back in the White House. We have a majority in the U.S. Senate, and we have a slim majority, but we have a majority in Congress. President Trump, and I think all of us, we love all American people. And I got to tell you, as a veteran, if you saved my life on the battlefield, I wouldn't care if you call yourself a Democrat, Republican, Independent, male or female, whatever. We're all Americans and we're all people. But it seems like our country is committing suicide with policies that we're making. You know, if you had heart surgery, would you want someone who was the best doctor in the country to perform that surgery? Or would you want somebody, I like the way they look, or it's their turn, or they have a different agenda? And I bring that up because it seems like our friends on the other side are making decisions that are America last. $36 trillion in debt is egregious, and they testified yesterday in oversight that we spend more money every day than we bring in every day. That is not sustainable. Now, if the government was to build you a car, you would never buy it. It would cost you $1 million. The free market has just created more opportunities and innovation than any country in history. And Elon Musk, since you guys talked about Elon Musk, you probably saw how he launched that rocket and landed it precisely. American ingenuity for a fraction of what it cost the government to send a vehicle into space. And if the civilian world is going back to in office and the largest workforce in our country, the government is saying, no, 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 you can stay at home. We heard earlier in testimony that a gentleman, it took him 3 years to fire him. He kept playing golf instead of doing his job. I heard a testimony about a woman who stood up in a Zoom call and was only wearing her top. You cannot build relationships and be effective, and you should listen to the cues of Elon Musk, who's a very successful businessman. But if you don't listen to Elon Musk, listen to the direction of the private workforce. They're going back into the office. And also, when President Trump got elected, they started getting rid of those ridiculous America last, the opposite of meritocracy DEI policies. And I know we're going to do oversight. I hope we'll do oversight on what happened in Los Angeles. But you hear stories where they had these meetings about how diverse they are, rather than how do we make sure we have enough prevention, enough water in our tanks and things like that. So my first question is for the Honorable Mr. O'Malley. Isn't it great? We live in a country where a man or a woman can work hard and achieve just about anything. Do you agree with that statement?
Yes, sir.
And so these policies that we see coming from the left, where you get a job based on things other than meritocracy, make no sense. And when the other side wants to make policy for President Trump before he even gets sworn into office that go to the end of his administration, it's an example of poor leadership. You know, a party that wants to put men in girls' sports Trump has a mandate. He got the popular vote and he won the Electoral College. And these ideas that criminals are good, police are bad, and nobody cares about the victims. There's just a whole pattern, just like this idea that we don't want government employees to go back to work. It's a list of the many examples of poor decisions coming from the left. And my next question would be—
That wasn't a question.
Well, you answered the question. I said, do you agree with that statement? You said you do.
Well,
the next question would be for Ms. Gressler.
Congressman, I buried 10 police officers in the line of duty. Please don't accuse me of not having respect for police officers.
Nobody said that. I said that the policies in my district, we talk about Lake and Riley, preventable. In my district, Campbell County, a 33-year-old illegal alien was released from prison 4 times because criminals are good and police are bad, no one cares about victims, and he raped a 14-year-old girl. These illegal aliens that are coming across our border are robbing, raping, and killing the American people, and it is preventable. We love our law enforcement. I'm sure you do as well. And I talk to law enforcement every day, and they say their hands are tied. And what I love it is that we have a president that loves our country. He loves our men and women in uniform, military and law enforcement, and I'm so excited to be part of that team.
I never tied my
All right, my next
police
question is
officers'
for
hands in
Ms.
Maryland
Gressler.
or Baltimore.
Ms. Gressler, what are, I have a question for you.
I know.
What are the top reasons why federal employees leave the agency?
And his time's expired, but please feel free to answer the question.
Well, I think it can vary a lot by agency, but they really don't leave very often. The federal quits rate was about 4% over the last decade or so, compared to over 30% in the private sector.
It's not true.
Accountability is a problem, though. That's the lowest rating on the federal employees' viewpoint. We don't know what it is actually, because the Biden administration removed that really bad rating question.
Very good. Thank you. Chair